Andy Barr, Republican from Kentucky on the Financial Services Committee. And, sir, thank you for your time back there in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm seeing an email from John Roberts of the White House saying there could be a deal afoot. What do you know about it?
Well, I certainly hope so, because there's no reason why we should let one single day go by before making sure that we replenish this fund. We have many small businesses in central and eastern Kentucky that have literally been saved, jobs saved. A sawmill in eastern Kentucky contacted me. Greg Wells, Green Tree Forest Products, told me that this PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Loan Program, saved 93 jobs. Upper Right Marketing here in Lexington, they contacted me early on. They literally got their loan the day before they had to let go about 30 of their employees. And a small media company down in Richmond, Kentucky, literally said that this program was a lifeline. So why on earth Speaker Pelosi would be holding up these funds and treating this as if it was a political issue? This is not a political issue. This is about American paychecks jeopardized because of an arbitrary lack of appropriations.
Let me, I know this information's moving in real time. So here is from the White House a moment ago. Sources telling Fox News $250 billion will be added to the program. That's been the ask I think now for almost 2 weeks. Also $75 billion for hospitals, and that's been the holdup with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Is that a deal that you would agree to, just based on the broad outlines that I'm presenting to you right now?
Well, you know, we probably will need more money for health care. In fact, I sent a letter to Secretary Azar today saying that we need more resources for our nursing homes and skilled nursing facilities. But there's no reason why we should be holding up the Paycheck Protection Loan Program. If this news is true and we have a deal, that's good. But the only fund that we have in Washington that has been exhausted so far is the Paycheck Protection Loan Program. Only $30 billion out of the $100 billion for the hospitals has been exhausted. But that's not the only holdup, Bill. The other demand that Speaker Pelosi has had was to add new red tape and bureaucracy to the small business loan program. I hope that is not in this deal.
Let me just play this. Chuck Schumer, he was on a bit earlier today, and he was sounding off in his way and said this. Watch here.
First of all, to give the money to the PPP program without correcting it would make no sense. You'd still have more than half the businesses left out and getting no money. Don't just ask Democrats. 8 Republican senators said that in a letter to Mitch McConnell. The Chamber of Commerce, hardly a Democratic organization, also agreed. So we got to fix that program as we give it more money.
So, I mean, it sounds like there's a deal in the works here. I just want to put a fine point on this. Could you vote for this, you and your Republican colleagues?
Look, I'm ready to go back to Washington. They say Washington is still a hot spot. We haven't quite flattened the curve in Washington, D.C., but I think members of Congress need to go back to Washington, if necessary, to resupply the funding in the loan program. Again, every day that goes by that we do not
you're exactly right
more
about
funds
that. So many are waiting on
this
the money,
program.
too. Yeah. Sir, I want to get to this China
right.
story, too. I don't know where it comes to accountability eventually. I don't know if it's weeks or months or years away, but how would you go about that? I know you're calling for an investigation as to what happened in Wuhan. How would you even get to the bottom of that, sir?
Well, we know that the U.S. intelligence community is investigating the Wuhan Institute for Virology and the origins of this virus, and the fact that for several weeks and maybe even months, China was covering up the origins, and then they further underreported their cases and collaborated with the World Health Organization to conceal the human-to-human transmission. And then even worse, in January, they began to weaponize the supply chain. And so I am calling for, and I filed a bill today to create a select joint committee to investigate the origins and also China's mishandling of the origins of the coronavirus that led to millions of Americans being at risk. And of course, we've seen the mortality rate around the world. The fact of the matter is, China put Americans at risk. They need to be held accountable, and we need a select committee to investigate this, to provide the American people with answers so that we can hold China accountable.
We'll see if you get your request. Thank you, sir, for your time. Andy Barr back there in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill.